it's Sherry from Sherry's Kitchen, and you know it's holiday time, and around holiday time everybody's making pies, whether they're doing a one crust pie or a double crust pie, but I'm going to show you how to make a crust. Okay, it's so simple, and all you need to have is a food processor. Now if you don't have a food processor, you can do this by hand. It just takes a little bit more effort. Okay, and so I'm going to give you the ingredients. First of all, you need 1.5 cups of flour. Now I use 1 cup of whole grain spelt and 1/2 cup of einkorn, all-purpose. Okay. Then you're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I use the Himalayan sea salt. All right. And then you're going to need your oil. So I'm using coconut oil. You're going to need 1/2 cup of coconut oil. And then you're going to need some water, cold water. This is about 6 to 8 tablespoons of cold water. Okay? And then we're going to take all of these and put them in the food processor in different steps. Okay? The first step we're going to do is we're going to take our flour, and remember this is 1.5 cups, 1 cup of whole spelt and 1/2 of all-purpose einkorn. And we're going to put that into our food processor. This is my favorite food processor. It was a gift, last gift from my husband. Alrighty, so we're going to put the dry in, and we're going to put the 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now I use the pink Himalayan salt. We're going to put that in. Now we're going to take and process these to mix the salt with the flour so it's evenly distributed. I'm just going to pulse that around. Okay. Then we're going to take and we're going to put that in next, okay? And we're going to pulse that in so it's crumbly. And if you're doing it by hand, you want the crumbs to be like a pea size, okay? So I want you to see how this looks. Little tiny crumbs, okay? And now we're going to add our water. And when we put the water in, it's going to bring it to a ball that we can work with. And it's 6 to 8 tablespoons. All right, so I'm going to take my top out here, turn it on, and start drizzling. Now we have a ball, a dough ball, okay? So you can see that. Now I tend to like a soft dough ball, but if it's too wet, you may need a little bit more flour. But it's soft at this time, and we're going to put it between 2 pieces of wax paper. Now we're going to make us, the size we need is to fill a pan like this. This is a glass Pyrex pan, all right? So we're going to do 1 crust here. All right, so we're going to roll it out. And one thing you want to do when you're working with it, you want to work as fast as you can, because the warmer it gets, the softer it gets. And then when you bake it, the crust will not be as flaky. You want to keep some of those fat molecules or fat particles in there, okay? Okay, so we're going to roll this out. Now you don't have to use wax paper, but it just makes it easier for the transfer, especially when you're using natural flours. Okay, almost there. And how I measure it is I take the pie pan and I kind of put it over and I say, oh, I think we have enough. So I'm going to check it from there. See how nicely that comes off? And if you can see close enough, you begin to see some of those little fat particles. I don't know if you can see here on this camera, but you'll see some of these fat particles, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it to the pan. Now this is the tricky part, because I usually just do it on the counter, okay? See how much easier it comes off? Alrighty. Now we're going to kind of let it fall down into our pie pan. Okay, you see that? Now some pies, you will bake it with the filling. And then there are some pies like custard pies, fruit pies, where you thicken first. And then you would do what we call a blind baking, okay? And I'll show you that in a minute, what we're talking about, okay? So I'm going to take my knife here and I'm going to do the edges of the crust here so it comes out nice and pretty. One of the things that's important is our food looks pretty and appetizing. It's the beginning of the start for digestion if it looks good. So I'm going to take and just cut along the edges. And you saw I didn't have to oil the pan because there's enough oil in the pie crust to keep it from sticking. Now, sometimes it's a little difficult for some people to do the finger, to do the crust edges. And if it's too hard for you, you can always use a fork. But I'm going to show you how I do it. Well, my mama showed me how to do it. And to make a nice, pretty crust. Okay? So I kind of pull it together. And now I'm going to use my thumb and my first finger here. And I'm going to go like this. See, I'm going to pinch it. See that? Like I said, you can use a fork. You can even cut out little tiny dough pieces with like leaves and put on the edges after you clean it off. So you want it to look appetizing and pretty, okay? So now, this is a completed pie crust. Now, if I'm going to do pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie or any pie that has to be cooked in the oven, I will take it right from here and place it in the oven with the filling. But if I'm going to do a fruit pie, a custard pie that has already been thickened, I'm going to do what you call a blind bake. So first of all, you would put holes on the bottom, and then you would fill the pie shell with these we call pie weights. Now you can use beans, dry raw beans, or these are something you can purchase and have all the time when you need them. And these are what you call pie weights. And then you'd cook it until it was done, and that helps to keep the pie crust from buckling and making air pockets. Okay, so this is our completed pie, and we're going to be using this one for Thanksgiving. Okay, and we're going to have some pumpkin pie in it. And so I hope this was easy, and I hope you understand how to make it. And so if not, visit my site again, and you can take it step by step. Again, this is from Sherry's Kitchen, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.